Kathleen, I want to have something good to say because it's New Year's, but however, it's not that great because in Los Angeles, Hollywood, or Malibu, Palisades, I mean, that was my so called stumping ground. It's burned to the ground, literally burned to ashes. And I can't tell you that how frustrating is just the whole event of this mismanagement of California government. So long story longer, I was trying to avoid like a lot of social media stuff. I mean, I was trying to focus on work, right? Like this is the what do you call a big windstorm, the Santa Ana winds, and blowing the trees outside. I mean, because I always go outside and uh, try to do a little bit earth. That's one of the New Year's resolution that we always make. Like for example, you always say, "I want to lose weight and exercise and so forth." So I made a resolution. It's of course good for the mind to be able to go look at the sun, and I go, okay, I gotta do that because I help your circadian rhythm and touch the earth, go step on the ground and everything. But then you see the trees like, oh my lord, swaying to the point because they're skinny little like weird palm trees, and my neighbor wouldn't want to cut because he said it would cost so much money. But it looks like it was coming down on my house. So I pray, God, please, please, please. I don't want to have to, sue Frank, my neighbor Frank, right? Because he, out of his good-heartedness, loaned us his land to film my redneck neighbor. So it goes back to that. But I was a little concerned looking at the signs, but then I just go to myself, you got a lot of things you got to take care of. Got to deal with the damn State Farm. Who won't pay the damages that the squatter caused in my mom's condo in Las Vegas. So I have to deal with that. But then I look at the wind that looks a little treacherous. So you know what? I put the flashlight right by the door. Thank God, my friend Chris gave me this. I think maybe it's like the multi-use, like you can break the glass and all that kind of stuff, or hit you in the head, right? If you're trying to come and loot me and rob me. I mean, not probably a bullet. It's a little faster, but I got this sucker charged up. That's a minor Patriot, meaning it's a Patriot battery Junior. Didn't have to use much, but it has multi-function, so I'm not making an ad. I'm just recharging it. You can charge it by solar. So I'm just recharging. I have a bigger one because after 2020, after so many brownouts and, just could not get out of California because due to, sorry, what happened there? My mother's condition. I'm just using my little homemade rigging, right, to make this recording. So I decided to make that investment, meaning, we want to flee from California. By the way, congratulate to Leroy. I was shocked, Leroy Warner, in fact, that he was in the reality business as like a story editor. So I said he was the nicest person, but just seemingly he wants to get along with all these people in the industry. So he disagreed with me vehemently. He hated. Well, this is just briefly. I'm not talking nasty about the guy or anything. He hated his families being Republicans. Where he grew up, like maybe Pennsylvania. I'm not sure, but. He actually helped me write a little blurb regarding my redneck neighbor. He thought it was a good idea. Just a little bit of the thespian encouragement. But he was always like not happy when I, pointed out like these California politicians they're running our lives as if we're just serfs and slaves, and he disagreed with me, and that's why he left his home also. But now he kind of realized that living in Hollywood, oh my God, it is like unbelievable. You can't survive basically. So amazingly, I got a text that he was leaving at the end of the year, like right Christmas. He drove his a U-Haul because he moved out of his Hollywood apartment. I was shocked. Back to North Carolina. Actually, he bought a house. I guess now he's getting back together with his parents. So that's a good story. I really like that because, like I said, he sort of thought that. We have our ideology, right? We go, oh, it's all like everything's fine. Why do you want to talk down on the folks in Hollywood and so forth? We're not talking down on them. For example, like Madonna or these the George Clooney's. It's just they're so blinded by their ideology. And even people I met, it's just frustrating that they live in a utopia. They thought that, well, that's strange. Like me being Asian, how come, I was against all these, what do you call these, taxations and the mandates of electric this and that by Gavin Newsome, for example. So after you suffered and suffered and suffered, you just go, fuck this, I gotta leave. And so, Leroy, I hope you're doing well. He's in North Carolina. I hope that he's doing well. He bought a house for less than $200,000 with big acreage. Just I say, hey, if I need a bug out place, I might have to, go shack up with you over there. But the funny thing is, I had a weird feeling when the wind was blowing, but I set my mind. Not as like an ostrich, but I said, okay, I told myself, today I gotta get hit the pool. All of a sudden the whirlwind came. It was 50 miles an hour wind. Like I said, the trees were like poof, poof, poof. The leaves were hitting me in the head. But I go, you know what, don't make any excuses and just do it as you had set out to do. So I set this right by the door, the flashlight, and that was given to me 2 Christmas ago. And then I went to the pool. It's getting dark. I went to the LA Fitness gym. Thank God there was a lot of street lights were off by then on Ventura Boulevard, but the gym lights were on. So I walk in there, changed, went into the pool. The good thing is nobody's there. But the old guy that was there all the time, I know, he said, just be careful. The palm tree, I was looking up the palm tree by Universal Studio, right? Because there's a lot of palms. California is known for palms, but it's also very close to all the high voltage power lines. I said, just don't get the palm to hit the power lines and hit me in the head because we're outside. So every time I take a breath, I look up, I go, ah! And then I get hit, pelted by the little, what do you call those, palm seeds? Because they have little seeds, right? Big clusters, thousands of them. But since the wind blew them and they hit you, it feels like rubber bullets. I couldn't believe it. No, the wind was so strong. And I kept telling myself, and I tried to encourage myself, this is good survival training. I don't know why. I was like, this is the weirdest thing. You're going, when you go one side of the pool to the other, you're so fast because the wind is pushing you, right? Because I just have this image conjure up in my mind, like I'm an Olympic swimmer, like poo, 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 I'm on the other end. But then, you take a breath and you go back the other side. I mean, I'm not fast. I'm not an Olympic swimmer. I mean, I'm just trying to, get movements and then coming back. It's like slow motion. It's taking me hours because the wind is pushing. It's like the perfect storm. On a smooth and calm day, if you boat across the ocean when it's glass, right? If your wind behind your back and pushes you. Everybody knows that if you're being on a sailboat, it's like, poof, you're there. But if you're going against it and the waves are going up and up, there are literally waves because the wind was stirring up so much waves. So I thank God I had goggles and everything. But it's pushing me back. It took me hours to get to the other end. I was like, maybe I gotta figure out a way, just go like one direction, you know, to the pool, just swimming one direction and not coming back. Um, so with that said, it was all fine. I was a little concerned with the rubber bullets, meaning the palm seeds hitting me right in the head. It was hurting me. Um, but then it's crazy. It's like you get an adrenaline. It's almost like swimming in the sea or something, right? Because there were waves. And of course, that shows you that I haven't been back to the ocean. Like I really miss the Caribbeans, and this is why I wanted to move to Florida also. Anyway, so I managed to plow through, and by the grace of God, I was able, no adversity this time. I showered, and I decided to go to the Sprouts, and there was still like open, because when I got out of the parking lot of LA Fitness on Ventura Boulevard, all the street lights were out by this time, and all the business lights were out, and they were on the way over, like you know, for example, the general admission, the bars, right? They were just totally dark, pitch black. So I was a little concerned, and then I had to get my milk, but thanks to Gavin Newsome, we don't have raw milk, because you know he's like, you can't drink raw milk. He's into putting people out of business to flex his muscle because he's king. You better like pay homage and, you know, stack and stacks of cash, because he get away with this shit and give you the double barrel. So I didn't get raw milk, and I saw the sign says raw milk is like, they cannot sell them. It's all bullshit because of Gavin Newsome, their gag orders or whatever, or Barbara Ferrer, who's a fucking zombie. These people, they're getting, like, she's getting $450,000 of your money, and they do nothing but to try to ruin your lives. I always think that these people are monsters. They really are. So long story longer, I was a little frustrated. I came out, and a nice guy drive around in a beautiful brand new Tesla, and he was telling me, very nice person. He said you didn't know about the fire. He said I just watched it all day, and I got a little, he just got bored, or not bored. The word was like, it's like, ooh, I got to get out of my mind. So he came to the Sprouts, and then we struck a conversation. I didn't know the extent of the fire. I said, I saw a thumbnail on my phone, but I kind of held my, my little impulse to try to click it, because you know how internet it is. Once you click one thing, it's another, and it just all of a sudden you go, oh shit, it's 10 o'clock, I gotta go to bed. I said I kind of made that decision. I have to do my little whatever training, and this day and that day, and gotta be more disciplined, right? And he go, okay, Palisade is burned down. He told me that. I said, are you serious? Pacific Palisade. I said, I know a lot of friends who live there. Not like real close friends, but for example, Albert Kalibed, the sheriff that I was talking about, the home that he has actually was right in Palisade on Mesa Drive, and that's where I first met him, which is a direct pass about 2 blocks from Will Rogers Beach, where I used to go play volleyball. So I'm very familiar. I know a lot of folks there. I used to, go to this place. It's, I guess, Golden Bull. It's like a bar in the Tex-Mex. It's also a bar. It's very good, cheap Mexican food. And of course, there's a really expensive place, Gabaldi. It's an Italian restaurant, and I actually know the owner of the restaurant, the owner that owns the building, because I walk by their house every day. His name is Joe, but the houses are gone. Everything's gone. I remember Joe and the brother owns all the buildings, and they collect rent, right, from these building of these restaurants, and so when they go eat, it was like, I guess it's like IOU, just signed an IOU. So I had the hugest lobster at this Garibaldi place, like Giorgio something. Um, it's right there, right by the PCH and Trada. Um, a lot of celebrity go there. I heard. I don't know, but it was so good. Oh, I'm just saying, because I dive and I catch lobster. I always say the lobsters you catch live taste so much better than the ones that are in captivity, because in captivity they don't feed them, so they shrink inside the shell. You're gonna get a lot of space, and they just don't taste as good. When they're foraging outside, they're big and fat. So when you get them out of the water, out of the ocean, um, sometimes they're so fat. I'm talking about the lobster meat will burst out of the shell. It's hard to even crack them. I mean, you can tell the difference right away. I don't know why I veered into that topic, but all I'm saying is, I said, what happened to the houses, the restaurants? He said they were burned up. So this man drove by. Maybe God sent him as a messenger, because he's like, look at me like, where were you? Didn't you hear about that? I said, I saw Nikon, but I was very, very determined and not to get bogged down in my mind, because my mind would say, oh, don't go out. You're scared, right? Um, that's why I did not look, and I said to myself, self, you can always look at the social media later after you finish your chores, what you set out to do. Anyway, so he proceeded to tell me. He said, it's going down to Santa Monica. I go, oh my God, because we're talking about the wheels. I went there, and then I tried to trap some crabs. And then I said, I also go to Topanga. I surfed there. I tried to, because it's so cold. And, when I paddle out there, my teeth start to chatter. But then I always find an excuse to come back and go to the Rio Inn, which is a seafood place, which is like, I would say it's crazy. It's like a seafood market, so everything is behind the glass. I love it. Meaning they're fresh caught Alaskan halibut, and next to whatever you want, right? You want ahi, tuna, they're all there, like big ass lobster legs and clams. Well, they're not cheap, but it's right there on PCH. So reel in, REEL, like they reel them in. He said burned. And then what about that Thai place next door? He said burned. He said, I was eating there last week. Well, anyways, he said he walked from the Thai place to the Rio Inn, because there was a long wait up for his order or whatever. And because it's very popular, right? It's New Year's and everything. And you go to the Rio Inn, and you look at the fish behind the refrigerator case, and you point out the piece that you want and how you want to cook it, and whether you want beans or whatever to go with it. So you self-serve. They ding 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 and notify you when you go pick up your food, and you go to a little salsa bar. I love that. I actually have pictures. I posted. That's the last time I visited with my mother, Grace. I took her there because I want her to see the ocean. She have not seen the ocean forever, and I took her. This is sad. From the Four Seasons, not the hotel, but the nursing home. Because you're cooped up in a nursing home. I said, well, let's just go for a drive, and uh, barely somebody orderly wheeled her out, plop her in my car. I just go, you got your diaper on, we're good, let's go. And I raced down PCH, and I tried to show her the beach, and it's strangely just like that car commercial. I don't know if you remember, there was one good car commercial about, grandma losing her mind and just like not paying attention, like, dementia, Alzheimer, or whatever, right? In the Christmas party. It was very touching. It was about the Chevy. If you remember, it had an 8-track playing. They showed the grandma the Chevy, and then, she like came back. Because of the memory and everything, because they thought that she was like, lost her mind. She was totally out there. But strangely, I mean, I haven't seen the ad then. When I was driving down, I was trying to look, pointed to my mother. That's the ocean. That's the wheels of, the Santa Monica Pier. She had responses. She responded to me. She said, "Oh, yeah, I used to, when I came to America, she drove up and down the PCH." I go, "Really?" So I opened up a conversation. She said, "Yeah, she remember, like, with in treating newspaper. She was with the Chinese, some kind of paper. Of course, it's from Taiwan, not from the communists, right? It's the Free China, the Taiwan." So the publisher was there. They went to some seafood place in Santa Monica. I go, "Really?" And she can recall all these things which it's sad when you're like an Alzheimer in the nursing home. You can't. Your mind is just not there. It's just it's sad. Anyway, so there was a gleam of hope there, and I listened to what she was saying. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then my lifeguard friend at that time, Bill, he was always at the Topanga. I guess it was the Sunset. Was there was a south and east? There's the guard, right? You go up there, the blue building, or not a building. It's just a guard, and then he was, I think, at Tabasco Canyon. So he said, "Well, let's celebrate that she's out about, and let's go to the Rio Inn." That's why I remember the Rio Inn, but it's all gone. I'm just saying, we had a pretty good time. I remember clearly I had a thick, fat piece of halibut. Of course, coleslaw. It's whatever the sides they have. Some broccoli. And there was the place. It was like very festive, a lot of lights, and you can, watch the college football. At that time, that was just a year ago. Place is gone. It's burned up, burned up. So it goes to tell you that why is this place mismanaged and totally run down? They were trying to say that, oh, it's because of the wind. No, it showed the weakness, the mismanagement, magnified it, because they're hoping, oh, nobody was going to notice anything, nothing will happen. We'll just keep on strangling them with the water usage. There's no water. No, they even confessed it, right? The LAFD, because of the DEI hire. I don't care. I never know. I mean, I don't know this person. I don't know the woman that's the head of the LA fire department. But I saw it, and I think I posted it, that during the interview, she's talking about DEI hire. She said, "Oh, well, there's not enough women firefighters." So that's her goal, because she's a proud LGBT community hire. And that's what they were focusing on. Instead of, like, somebody can save my life. When I needed it, it takes that second to, whether you have fucking water coming out of the hose, or you have fucking drained the water, hoping that we don't notice, and then lecturing us every freaking day that, oh, don't water your grass Wednesday, Thursday, or we'll punish you. And we'll punish you. Well, actually, yes, they will. Unless you have a low flow toilet flush. Means you have to flush that 10 times. Otherwise, you'll be plunging for the rest of your fucking life. That's how Gavin Newsome, Kare Bass run this town to the fucking ground. And if you didn't notice today, it's an anniversary of this so-called insurrection, Donald Trump being kicked out of Twitter, locked out. Can you believe that? What kind of freed society it is when you have a social media account, they locked you out, lost like millions, hundreds of millions of followers. Twitter locked him out on this day. So I went back and saw a video that of Donald Trump when he visited California standing, when there was Franklin Fire, if you remember, of course, there's so many disasters, right? Calamities that we don't know. And that's why climate is always changing. Forget about using that as a tool. Right now it's 65 degrees. Tonight it's going to be 52. It's always changing. That's why the global warming shit wasn't going to work. So you change the words to climate change. It's always fucking changing. God damn it. You're a worshiper of the cult of death. So this Green New Scam and George Soros, Bill Gates, a worshiper of death. They want to depopulate, meaning you're the one who has to go. They don't believe in God because they're gods. They don't believe that God is the one who promises. He's so rich, he don't mind it. He said, I will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. There's enough food. There's always a method to make more food, energy. The bad guys want us to think that, there's just not enough to go around everybody. So we have to, not water, not flush. But, that's what happens when Donald Trump, just called them out. See, Donald Trump really didn't have, the iron fist power. They hated him, not because he could have done something. He wasn't in power for a long time, even when he was the president. I mean, he did a fantastic job, but they tie his hands. He's like a gladiator fighting with fucking stabbing wounds. I never seen so many fucking impeachment over nothing, over a phone call. It was bullshit, right? Anyways, because he talks. He tell it like it is. He's saying, what's California doing? You have so much rain. Well, I know, I lived through it. There was gazillion gallons of rain. When I went down to the beach, to the ocean, right, I seen the pouring of the, all the water came out. They don't save any of them. It was in the name, they can't think of something. It was it's so ridiculous. So a little microfish, they call them delta thing. They're just lying through their teeth because now they have no way to power, because water, whatever the power, they don't want you to use coal. So water powers electricity. But however, they let the water dam, it's just no way to catch water, to go busted and wasted, dilapidated. And then I think we're stupid, really. Add onto this injury, the insult onto injury. I believe, every year they try to put something about, saving water, saving the environment. And I remember clearly there was a taxation of bond, right, from California to say repair or the dams. Nothing got repaired. They got hundreds of billions of dollars. So that's why we're paying so much in taxes. Every time, you cannot live, you cannot breathe. Every bottle, this bottle costs ching, taxes, 10 cents. You'll never see it again, right? Oh, that's nothing. A bag. Oh, that's taxation. You can't walk out of a grocery store, even with inflation, they insult onto injury. The cashier would say, you want bags with that? Hell yeah, they always come with that. Of course, you're going to bag my apples and, fish and everything. Oh, okay, 10 cents per bag. So they're just stealing from us and put it in their pockets, like Gavin Newsome just bought a $10 million villa. And what did he do? He mismanaged the forest. You have to clear off, the branches are dead, bushes. And you got to make a evacuation plan. I mean, some places are so dense. No, just keep the money piling up, right? Pot of gold, bags and bags, and they're their own Santa Clauses. If you don't believe me, watch what Benny Johnson, I just saw his video on YouTube. He has a huge follower. He dug them all up, and he has the capacity to do a frame-by-frame video. So there was the video in 2019 where Donald Trump was was visiting the disaster of a Franklin fire. Actually, I know people that were totally burned out from that fire. That's another story. Mike Williams, anyways, a great musician, composer, a probably a pot smoker. You know, people just want to play their music, and he said that when he was a hippie, neighbor complained about playing guitar too loud, so he said, "Fuck this." And North Hollywood, he's like came up with a little bit of money. I think it was like 20,000 or whatever it was. Got acreage up at Malibu Canyon, but it's way in there. Las Tunas. Anyway, you probably don't know these streets. Anyway, so Canyon Road going way up there. It's like, you know, you can't even find it. Even with a GPS will mislead you because there's so much blockage and all that. But it was great. I wanted to use Mike Williams' ranch because he was a musician. In fact, it go back to me doing some patriot rap. By the way, this is Donald Trump. Patriots, I suppose. So we didn't do good this year. But at that time, we were doing great. So I was doing like Patriots was devouring the Jaguars and that kind of rap and sports rap. And so he had a studio. So what he did, what I think was marvelous. It's like a total survivalist. I really admire that, where he bought like, you know, acres, maybe an acre and a half or two. I'm not sure. But it was a lot of land up in the mountains. And I put a trailer. That was it. So he said, well, nobody fuck with me. I'm going to play my music and do my thing and smoke my doogies, right? A lot of people can identify with that. So the government harassed him, of course, and he had to fight them. I suppose they say, well, you can't put a trailer and not pay taxes. You have to make a dwelling, because land, they can't really tax you. They tax you 99%. I mean, which, you know, when you put a dwelling, a home, a house, they classify, you know that, in the property tax, and where they can zap you with tens of thousands of dollars. But if you're just on the cheapy land, it's unimproved. They cannot tax you a huge amount, so probably paying a few $100s, which he was fine with. But they harassed him. They want to kick him off the land. So long story longer, he had to fight the California government, and then he said, well, I can't fight him. Okay, so he found a loophole. He just apply for a permit to build, but somehow there's always a problem. I guess he has to renew that permit. So as long as, I suppose, he's intending to build a dwelling, you know, he still get by every year just paying for an unimproved land. If you get what I'm saying, I'm sure if you know about real estate, unimproved land, it's just piece of land. They can't tax you that much. But once you build a building, whether it's commercial, residential, they tax the shit out of you on the value of the building, whether it's worth it or not. Okay, that's it. Just because it's Malibu, even if it's a shitty shack, they can still say that's worth like $2 million. So you gotta pay tax on that. And all of a sudden, you get a tax bill that's 20 grand. You can't afford it, so what? The government forfeits it. Confiscation. That's communism. Anyways, you know, not to get into it too deep, but I mean, I can't do. I'm just saying that it's so obvious. I don't know why are these people are so obsessed with. Oh, you know, we're gonna stick with the Democrats. I mean, yeah, if they freaking stab you and take every dollar out of your pocket, you know, you want to do that. That's okay. But they're stabbing me as well. You know, think about my survival, my future. I can't survive. So, like, Leroy got out of here, and you know, praise God, Leroy Warner, last person I think would leave Hollywood, because he had so much dreams. And anyways, so long story longer, Leroy hated. No, he hated the family because they were Republicans. I think it was in Pennsylvania. So, you know, I mean, artists have dreams. So he came to Hollywood and then he worked hard. A story editor for a lot of these TV shows, like you know, Gordon Ramsay has a lot of these chef shows. So he actually puts them together, right, in all the habits and sequence and everything. That's a lot of work because there's 100 cameras and he has to assemble them. Um, so he was like ideologically different than me. I mean, I like the person. Anyways, you know how there's a lot of thespians in Hollywood and everything, but he lived in a one small one bedroom apartment in Hollywood. Still couldn't afford, just couldn't afford it because of the policy. The policy they make, it's mismanagement. Again, it go to mismanagement. That's a nice word, but the other word is that they're defrauding the people. They're defrauding you by lying to you, by saying, oh, this is for clean water, just pay us more money, homeless shelter, pay us more money, and increase your tax by this much, and borrow money bond and everything. I don't know how they get approved. I mean, either this is why they want to have the illegals come in here, because we have no say, we're hands are tied behind our backs, and they just pay more. If you can't pay, hey, they take your homes. So either way, your home get burned up there. Either way, it's gone because of evil mismanagement. Comes to a point. It's actually, I think, malice. It is malice, malicious intent. Just like Lahaina, they maliciously want to burn you out of their homes, right? So they can use all that land, they can confiscate it, say it's not safe for you to live here. Here's a little bit of money. Go down and rent an apartment or live in a condo. That's what they're doing. But Donald Trump visited 2019 after the Franklin fire. So what I said, they were trying to burn Mike Williams out of his beautiful, self-sufficient, survivalist environment. Because I visited his house, he gave me a bunch of eggs. His chicken laid. And he had a great garden up by Malibu Canyon. A great, a greenhouse. I admired it so much. He was self-sufficient. He had generators running, there were goats bleeping. He had a pretty mean so-called shepherd dog, but that dog was mean. But that's okay because you got to fight out with the bad guys. But the garden, I remember the tomato was like bigger than my head. Oh my God, melons! I couldn't believe there was some of the eggplants he gave me. I said, "Are you sure?" They were growing everywhere. So he was self-sufficient. He had, like I said, eggs and generator, but they burned it. All right. So Donald Trump visited 2018. You can see the video. He was standing next to Gavin Newsome, who's just like a zombie. Trump just go to him and said, look at Finland. He said, this is why the forestry, you have to clear off all the dead brushes. But, succumb to the environmentalist crook, like don't touch anything. That's why a fire has the fuel. It goes boom. It's almost like gasoline. And it's not just the wind. The wind adds to it. And I wouldn't be surprised they tried this with EMP, the technology that I have where Bill Gates they're doing that. They try to block the sun, so they do the chemtrail spray to change the weather, to divert the pressure, a high level, low level. I mean, all that, who knows? I don't know. That part is speculation. All I'm saying is the very basic thing Donald Trump was saying when he visited in 2019 in Malibu, Franklin Canyon. That's when Mike Williams got burned down of his, his shack and his recording studio. But I'm just saying, I know the time. And Trump already told me, he said, look at Finland. Finland, it's it's a forest country. They even call themselves that. That's why the president, or what you call forest management, right? They meticulously, it's a lot of work. That's why you hire them and pay them. That was the job of the government, because we did not want to have kings over us. Remember the revolution? They were pissed off of a 2% tea tax. That's when they started the war. They were ticked off. But now they tax you right and left, stealing from your pocket, and you just fucking lay down and be obedient fools. So basically, you're supposed to hire the manager, which is like, they're the servants, right? To manage it, okay? So you have a lot of wood, a lot of forest trees. You have to clear them, and you have to set up evacuation routes and everything. And where I came from, I mean, at that time, and it's a different deal. Where I came from, the little island of Taiwan, it's hard to evacuate, but they have drills all the time. But in the United States, I mean, like, we're just unprepared. You're just going, que c'est la, c'est la. Hope to God that I don't die. But that doesn't, that it's not going to work, because we're going to go into tribulations, and this is the signs of the beginning of the birth pains. As long as these people, that Gavin Newsome's, that you kiss their asses, the Kare Basses, who's lecturing you that you cannot water your lawn except for on Wednesday and Fridays, or we're gonna fine you, and you cannot flush your toilet. They actually will fine you if your toilet is not so-called the economy water flow shower heads. You know that. They send me a bunch of, they force you to change your shower heads. They actually, the water department send me shower heads, like, I don't know, cheapy ones that you're probably gonna take 2 hours to clean yourself, wasting more water. Anyway, so they lecture you day and night, and then they let the water, the beautiful rainwater, hundreds of millions of gallons to flow to the ocean, and let the dams go freaking dilapidated. But add to the insult onto injury, they make you pay into the what do you call, repair of the Oroville Dam, but nothing gets repaired because they hate dams. They don't like you. They don't like me. They actually like the people that are out there shooting up drugs, because you know what? If my mind is dumbed down, then I'm not going to criticize them. But that's exactly that we have to just not be scared. I'm not doing this out of criticism. I'm just saying my life is in danger. I'm relying on this little battery and to get in and just sort of stare into the dark. I did not eat. That was probably okay. I fasted it. So that was okay because I was making intercessory prayers, and instead of saying to myself, "Self, you just need to get the fuck out of here," right? I'm just saying, I'm encouraging myself. I don't know about you, that, you know what, can't take it anymore. Okay, those people have to go. If you're having some kind of manager managing your business, and they just steal everything and put it in their pockets, and the customer comes and they get nothing, like a Coke and a fry, right? Basically, there was one fry in a little pocket, right? And the Coke jar, whatever it is, it's just filled with ice and no drink, and you say you're fired. And that's what we need to say. That Gavin Newsome, Kare Bass, or you morons, you are fired. You are so fired. And this is, it goes back to the damn raw milk. They try to attack raw farm. They're just small business farmers trying to survive. There was nothing wrong with raw milk. And I can't get raw milk because, these bureaucrats say, it's for your own good. We're worried about the bird fucking flu. No, you're not. You are lying. You are lying. You're trying to strangle these little farmers, because you want to take them out of business, and you don't care. You don't give a rat's ass about my health. I want my raw milk, so goddamn release my raw milk. And the fact that they were doing like PCR tests and this so-called bird flu thing, I'm not saying it's a hoax. It's lab grown. Just like, I'm not pointing at you. I'm just emphasizing, because I'm so mad because they did that with the goddamn COVID, right? The virus was lab grown. It's by the Wuhan virology not the fucking bat thing, and that's a ridiculous, hilarious joke. And Fauci funded that goddamn Wuhan virology because if you didn't know, they were trying to lab grown these viruses in the name of preparation for a biological attack. What kind of bullshit is that? Then you just set more fire, right? You can set fire at your home and say, oh, I just want to see how it's going to burn so I can prepare for it. What kind of bullshit is that? So they were doing all the lab thing to grow these deadly viruses that can spread to millions of people. And you can look it up. Galveston, Texas, Galveston University in North Carolina, which people were pissed off. And then, people around there, they were pissed off. Yeah, do you want that? Yeah, we complained about fucking burning garbage in El Monte in my backyard because it stinks, right? They have to do the sanitation and burning them. It stinks. Just think about the virology's, the lab, the viral experiment lab right next door. So they got rid of them. They didn't want them in the backyards. And that's why Anthony Fauci sent the lab work to China. And that's a Wuhan virology lab in funneled through the NIH, $650 million. And DASAC and all these folks, they have the inside information. Of course, they're whistleblowers. I'm surprised that, they got a pardon from Joe Biden. But you know what? That's a crime against humanity. I think Fauci, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know. He's the face of the devil, the Grim Reaper himself. So it's actually, I broke it down. It's fairly simple. No, really, seriously, not that I went to biology class, but when I was a child. But, in theory, it's fairly simple. I'm sure it's not that, difficult to understand, but it's probably not that easy to do. So if they break off a piece of that so-called the HIV, the spike protein, and that's what they did. They transplanted it to, the bacteria infected. Therefore, the non-transmittable from animal to humans, the virus become transmittable, because it was the way that God made it. It's not transmittable from, they say, from frogs that jump to a human being. It wasn't like that, because we know only a few things like rabies, those are dangerous. But, like the bird flu, this was a pandemic. Again, it was in their plans. And who are these people? Bill Gates Foundations, big pharmas, because they can roll out the new vaccines. In fact, they're just getting ready to roll out the new vaccines, so they'll force you to get injected again. That's another pandemic in the works. And then PCR tests, and actually there's majority, I guarantee you 1,000% of false positives. Because if the PCR test, even the people that invented the test and say if you spin it enough times, they're just trying to find a little peck to say, oh, this is positive. But if you spin your thing enough times, right, that's how they spin it. But then when they say there was 45 or something like that, then for sure, you're going to get positive every time. So a lot of times that, people are so afraid they go to their test to see if they got COVID. It's bullshit, because they can spin enough times. It's contaminated. My friend has to work on a show, and they forced him to take the stupid, the PCR test, and, tested positive. And then it was negative. It was false positive. 99% of the time it's false positive. So those are just, really, it's a waste. They're made in China. Anyways, to gather your DNA, I wouldn't do it. Okay, that's it. Have a good new year. So pray for California to expose these, I would say, dirty scoundrels. I couldn't even say, what do I say? Scoundrels? I would say rotten scoundrels. That's what I wanted to say, to get rid of them. I don't know why they're still there. Because it's like if you're driving a school bus and you keep driving it, off the cliff and killed everybody, you should not be driving a goddamn school bus. It's that simple. They should not be driving the state of California off the cliff and still have a goddamn job and, freaking rape and pillagers. Okay, goodbye.